Hello and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn and another episode of A Spooky Little Christmas. Today I've been inspired by these signs that have been around in real scale Christmas decoration for quite a while now. They are normally wooden blocks and they come with little Christmas messages. I have obviously corrupted the Christmas messages to go with my spooky theme, and they're not all wood. Now, whilst I have used wood for some of the signs, my main material has been recycled card, and this is the board that food packaging is made from. Cereal boxes, that sort of thing. I know I'm boring about it, but where I can, I use free materials, and can you blame me? Now I'm going to start off with, in this case, some punch circles. This is a 1-inch circle punch, and I have punched out 4 pieces of that size. These I am going to stack and glue together to make my first sign. In addition to the 4 layers of board that I've stuck together to make my sign, I've stuck another 3 together to make a base, because this is going to be a upstanding self-supporting stand, and I'm going to use a cut down lollipop stick. Yes, it's wood. Popsicle stick, craft stick, whatever you prefer to call it, to make the upright. Now this has just been cut down a bit. The height is all dependent on you, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that onto there with a little glue, and then that will be the base for my sign. The post has had a coat of white paint, and I've actually cut it down a bit because I decided I wanted to make this a shorter sign. The main part of the sign I've painted red. Just used some acrylic paint. I just wanted it nice and bright. And then I've done my lettering. I've done all the lettering on the computer, and I simply printed out a single sheet with all the wording on. Now this one is printed at about a 9 size font. Most of the others are at I think it's 7.5. I did actually print it in the first place at 5, but that was ridiculously small, and I'm sure it would have looked quite all right in scale, but I couldn't see it, so I just went for this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use some Mod Podge to glue my lettering onto the sign, and then give that a little coat of Mod Podge to give it a bit of a protective coating afterwards. Now that the sign is complete and dry, I can attach it to its post. Now I know the post is a little bit on the bulky side, but for a seasonal decoration I'm not too bothered about that, because they do come in all shapes and sizes. And all I'm going to do is attach some glue onto the top of the post, and then add the sign and hold them in place until it's glued. And there we have it, a Santa Stop Here sign for my spooky family. I've used both wood and card to make the block decorations that I showed at the beginning. Wood is obviously a bit easier because it's generally thicker than my recycled card, but you know, you can use either. You could use the pieces of wood that come, the square pieces, the rectangular pieces, cut down to the correct size if that's what you've got, but this is what I've got, this is what I'm working with. So to do with the wood, this is coffee stir sticks. I have cut the pieces down and then I have glued them together with some wood glue. I've used wood glue in this case because it does produce a really good bond, and if I need to even anything up, I can use the wood glue and it can be sanded afterwards. So these are some pieces of coffee stir stick. There's 4 there that I cut to the size that I wanted and glued together, and all I've done is I've sanded the edges a bit so that I'm happy with the finish of it. The block that I've made has been given a coat of gold paint using, in this case, a oil-based paint marker. Now I've been using this and the silver one for these signs because, well, they work. They just happened to be something that I got and I tried it and it worked. I would recommend that whatever you do decide to use, you try on a spare piece of the material and check for any interactions between the different products you might use, because sometimes you can get running on certain substances and not on others when you add glue and stuff like that. But anyway, I've printed out the words that I want for the sign and I've coloured over them with an alcohol marker, just one of my pro markers. Again, it just happens to be something that I've got. And I'm going to cut the word out and stick it onto the sign. I could just cut it out with scissors. I'm going to use a ruler and a knife just because it will get a better, straighter line, hopefully. I'm not very good at straight lines, never claim to be. So I'm going to do that and then stick it onto the block. And here we have another finished sign. This time, Merry Creepmas. As you can tell, all of my signs have got a dark twist to them, but I'm sure you'd expect nothing different from a spooky little Christmas. To make blocks from recycled card, you basically need to cut the card into strips and then cut the strips into repeat size pieces. This and that strip are 1/2 inch, and then this one is 1/4 inch deep, and then you make your blocks to whatever size you want. That block is a little bit excuse that banging, I'm not sure what my neighbours are up to. Then that one, that's 5 layers, that one was 7 layers. It all depends how deep a block you want, but I've done some different size ones just so you can see, and they are simply glued together with my usual cosmic acrylic glue. Could use PVA, I just happen to like that one. And once it's set, it is nice and hard. You can put you can file around the edges, you know, you can trim it off. It's great. These have been finished in the same way as the previous ones, in that they've been given a coat of paint, the wording has been added, and then it's been covered with a thin coating of Mod Podge just to give it a nice finish. And I've got Silent Fright there and Seasons Creepings. Now I'm not sure how many of these signs I'm going to use this year. My doll's house is under renovation, as you may know, and I'm going to decorate one room for the festive season. It's going to be a bit of a sew together, but we shall see how it comes out, and definitely some of these bits are going to be used. To make this one, which I showed you at the beginning, all you need to do is to make a flat panel. Now I did that by sticking 2 craft sticks together, but you could do it by layering up some recycled card. And I'm sorry, there's more banging. I never know what my neighbours are up to. I don't know if this is going to pick it up or not, but it's quite noisy out there. Anyway, all that I've then done is stuck the paper piece to the front. Now I did my words separate, and for the sake of 5 words I was not going to reprint an entire sheet of paper, so I just cut and pasted the old-fashioned way. I haven't done a tutorial for this one because it's very similar to the signpost in my Halloween decorations video, which I will link in the description box. Now this is just an upright signpost with signs attached. Any kind of signs you want. You could have directional arrows, more traditional sayings, but obviously I've gone with something that suits my purpose. I have decorated the tops with three-dimensional paint in white to mimic snow, and at the bottom I've covered the base in cotton wool, and I've added a little snowman out of air dry clay and a couple of elf skulls. I made the elf skulls using skull beads and some little air dry clay ears. I know skulls don't really have ears, but it looks quite effective, I think. And here we have my little collection of signs, all spooked out, but at the same time Christmas looking. Certainly, I hope so. As I've said a few times during this video, any of these could be altered to make conventional Christmas signs or to make other pieces of home decor. You know, you could put the name of the family that lives in your house on a sign, anything you wanted. It can be done in the same way. You can alter the colours, you can alter the finish. It's just a really, really simple idea. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will subscribe for more from the Gothic Unicorn. Bye!